Hi, I'm Urquidez, and this is Emil Farkas, the legendary Emil Farkas.
Legendary, okay.
There we go. Actually, Emil, I mean, we're going back some moons back a little bit.
Many moons, many moons.
So in the beginning, you know, you were. I mean, I'm sure you're still in the film industry, but back then you were so deep, you know, into the film industry.
Well, you know why? Because when I first came to town in '65, there was almost nobody doing it.
Yeah.
And you know, there were really no martial artists per se, you know, real black belts other than Gene LaBelle, one or two, you know, other people doing it. So, you know, and I had a lot of clients that were in the film business, so they all drew me into it, and that's the whole thing. That's how it got started.
Yeah.
Because I started in the business in '65.
Right.
It was a long time ago.
A little ways back.
A little bit back.
And so, and in that, you know, I know because you've been able to interact with a lot of, I mean, from books to, you know, you name it, we've done together.
That's
However,
true.
Back in the '60s, you know, back in the '60s, how, you know, when Bruce first came in, you know, the Nationals and things start happening, you know, back then there was such Bushido heart.
Oh, of course.
You know, your mark of a warrior was tape around the knuckles, tape around the two toes. And,
but you know what, I was just talking to Pat Johnson,
yes.
And we were saying there was a camaraderie among martial artists. You know, everybody respected each other.
Right.
You know, everybody knew each other. Everybody was involved. Doesn't matter what style, what system. You know, it was just that's what it was. So when you went to a tournament, you know, everybody was glad that you were there. But today it's a whole different ballgame. It's a, you know, it's a, you know, everybody. I'll give you an example. You got back from Japan not too long ago, and you know, after the JKA broke up. I mean, you know, if you studied with Kanazawa, they won't accept his certificates because he left the JKA. So much politics in everything you do today.
And you know, that's the sad part about it is they lost the Bushido heart.
Absolutely.
Somewhere, that code of honor somewhere. And so, and the '70s came around, and when the '70s came around, kickboxing, you know, full contact karate started in '73
sure.
up until '75, and then kickboxing. When I fought the first Muay Thai kickboxer, thinking that was his name anyway, it started to change. And you can see there was a breaking up between the martial arts and kickboxers, you know, and then the '80s came around. So, you know, what do you think that the Bushido went? I mean, how did we lose that? What do you think?
Well, I think you lost it because I think part of it was at the original, at the beginning, instructors taught because they really genuinely liked the martial arts, they respected and whatever. But as time went on, it all became money. You know, big dojos, fancy schmancy. Give away a black belt in 3 years because you can charge $1,000, and I think very slowly that whole thing started going out. You know, I mean, let's face it, you and I went through a time when to get a black belt, you had to earn a black belt, you know. I mean, you studied with Bill for how many years, you know, before you ever got... Nowadays, you know, you go in someplace, and it started in the '80s, you know. I mean, it started giving out junior black belts, you know, 6-, 7-year-old kids having black belts. And slowly as it went away, that whole element, you know, I mean, the bowing, the respect to each other, slowly started to go out. And I don't know how to capture it back.
Well, you know what, actually, again, you know, somebody had once said, well, you know, how are you going to save the world? I said, one person at a time. You know, I'm from old school, and I'm with Sensei Boys, and he still keeps the Bushido way. You know, he still keeps the code of honor, and you know, the respect of bowing and so forth, and that's what's really important, you know, nowadays to keep that. But in the '90s, for instance, when kickboxing started going out, and then the Gracies started coming in with the ground fighting, you know, and jiu-jitsu and so forth, and '75 it started to change, and then it became everybody was doing mixed martial arts from '95 to 200, and then it became everybody's cage fighting, everybody's mixed martial arts, and a lot of big change happened in the 2000s.
Absolutely, gigantic. But that's, well, you know, but fortunately there are some places, like Sensei's place, that, you know, keeps that. And that's the only thing that's going to save martial arts, is the tradition and the element of respect and honor and Bushido. Yes. And that's what it's all about.
I think that, you know, you're absolutely right. And the Bushido way in the martial arts is always full circle. It is coming back.
Absolutely.
And you know what? You know, warriors like you and myself, and we definitely going to keep it. You know, keep the Bushido way.
I agree.
So all you the viewers are watching, stay with Bushido heart.